Okay, welcome back to the third chair show. Thank you for joining us. Today we have my cousin, the medical student, again. We're lucky that she took the time off to have what we're hoping will be a light-hearted conversation. We're going to take a somewhat of a break of our deep conversation we're having. We'll still try to tie it back into some of the psychology and some of the points that we have previously discussed. But hopefully, you'll enjoy this show. And we are hoping to discuss kind of a tastier angle of things today. So, welcome back. How are you today?
Hi, I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing really good. It's kind of exciting that we're talking about food. I actually just
Yeah,
had
me too.
I just had one of the best croissants I've had in my life. I just it's one of my favorite spots. I had breakfast there before we started this podcast today. So
Wow.
so I'm all revved up. I'm in the mood to talk about food.
Yeah, me too. Today I had my favorite like kofta at a very beautiful Turkish restaurant, and it's very, very beautiful. And I also started cooking.
I know. I'm so excited for you. How do you like cooking? How
Thank
you've been
you.
enjoying it?
Actually, I was really surprised at my first meal, like rice, lubia, and meat soup. It turned out to be really good, and the rice was actually good, not like sticky or something. And I was like really surprised. And then I started cooking like chicken in the oven, and I was surprised it actually turned out to be so good. So I was like, wow, that's really beautiful and very like you said before, it stimulates the vagus nerve, the parasympathetic. So it was very beautiful.
Yeah, food is just incredible. So you just said lubia was zabe. Lubia is the green beans, right?
Actually, it's beige beans.
Oh, okay. Oh, I know what you're talking about. Those like brownish kind of colored beans. And
Exactly.
you made that with the rice, right?
And the meat.
Oh, wow, that must have been a delicious meal. You know,
It was very delicious.
rice is like one of the most dangerous foods in the world, in my opinion. It's so delicious, it's so simple, but somehow there's all these varieties. It's crazy. You have, my Pakistani friend introduced me to basmati rice. Oh my God, basmati rice is so delicious. That I've got my Asian friend who's introduced me to their sticky rice. Have you ever had sticky rice?
Actually, I did. There was a Chinese restaurant in Egypt. It was very beautiful. It was very tiny, but its food was so good. The chicken, sweet and sour, and the sticky rice, and the cucumber, how they make it. I don't know what's the recipe, but it's so beautiful. So, yeah, and the spring rolls and the sweet chili sauce. So, yeah, I've had an experience of the sticky rice. It was very beautiful.
Oh, it's so good. Yeah, he took me to actually a sushi restaurant, and what they do is they somehow take the sticky rice, they make it into a triangle shape, and then they grill it.
Yeah.
And after they
Wow.
grill it, they take a piece of eggplant and they cut the eggplant in tiny little piece, almost like a sushi. They also grill that and they put it next to it. Oh my God, when you eat it, out of this world.
Wow, I would love to try that.
And for me, that eggplant has a special place in my heart. Like, it just reminds me of my childhood. Anytime I eat anything with eggplant, it's like one of the three foods. As soon as I eat it, it like transports me from today to when I was a little boy. It just drives me crazy. Do you have any foods like that?
Actually, that's very interesting because, and a very interesting coincidence because I have the same place for eggplant in my heart because my mom makes like مسقعة and it's made with eggplant, French fries, and like green pepper, and it's really, really, really beautiful. Like my mom makes it so good, mashallah. So I love it. This is my favorite food.
Oh my God, musa'a is unbelievable. So our Greek friends, they call that moussaka. It's those thin slices of eggplant with the meat. Oh my goodness, it's so delicious. You know,
Yeah, it's very delicious.
it's just so interesting to me how that works. Did you ever see that movie? I can't remember what it's called. It was a Disney movie where there was a little
Ratatouille.
rat. The rat, when he's on top of the chef's head and he,
Yeah, ratatouille.
yeah, Ratatouille. That's it. You remember that scene when the critic chef he eats he eats that dish. Remember the
Yeah, yeah.
potatoes and it zooms out. All of a sudden, it takes him back when he was a little kid in the farm.
Yeah,
Oh, that's
I definitely remember that. It brought him back to his childhood when his mom used to make like a warm meal, and when he just like fell out of a bike.
that scene resonated with me so much because it really it's amazing. It really speaks a lot about the human condition because when you look at how the brain works, food and flavor and taste and that memory is really associated with the limbic system. So that's why a meal can do something like that and can bring you back to those memories. And it's incredible.
Yes,
Like
definitely.
for me, every time I talk to you, it's like a Pavlov response. Literally, almost every time I talk to you, I always get this memory of when you made me that lemonade when I visited you in Egypt. I mean, till today, I
I'm
can't
really
find.
glad you liked it.
Every time I talk to you, I remember that moment. It's unbelievable. I can't find any lemonade that tastes as good. You caused me harm by doing this because now I had this amazing lemonade and I can't get it anywhere else, no matter where I go.
Uh, Thank you so much. It's a very beautiful compliment. Inshallah, I'll make you another. Actually, I've developed this recipe and I made it like new type of lemonade. You know, the big yellow one, and you actually put it in the blender, and then you put some milk actually on it, like little amount of milk, not too much, and some water. It's actually so amazing. Like that's a new recipe I've developed, and I found out that it tastes, oh my god, like so good. Like when you actually tasted it, I used to squeeze the lemon, but not use it in the blender, you know?
Oh wow. I can't wait to try it. That almost sounds like I have a Brazilian friend of mine. They do Brazilian lemonade. When you get a chance, look it up. And it sounds similar to what you're saying, but what do they do? I can't remember. I think they blend it, but then they add like cream, actual like heavy cream to it.
Wow.
And it tastes so good. When you get a chance, look that up. I think you'll be pleasantly surprised.
I would love to try that.
So, why do you think people jump to food? That's something I kind of want to talk to you about today. Why do you think we jump to food? Like, when you're having a really bad day, a really tough day at school or at work or wherever, why do you think we have this what we call comfort foods, right? Why do we go for these comfort foods? What are your thoughts on that?
Well, from my own personal experience, like one day I was very anxious because I had a lot of studying to do. So I tried out this beautiful karak tea, and I didn't do it like on purpose. I just had the karak tea, and it just cooled me down so much and made me so calm. And I feel like, oh my god, like it's actually Indian tea, karak tea, and I was surprised to find it in Egypt like canned and it's cold, and I drank it and it had the same effect. Sometimes food cools you down and just transforms you from one mood to another, not just from sad to happy, but from anxious to calm, you know? So yeah, I do believe that some food has got a magical effect, but we gotta be careful that this does not transform into emotional eating, where you eat when you're not hungry, when you're bored, or when you're stressed out, because then you people of a certain age, especially women in their 40s, they might develop cholelithiasis, which is stones, gallstones in the gallbladder, you know. So you have to be very careful with your health, you know.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely, and it's the human body is really incredible. It's such a I always tell my friends when we talk about it, it's the best engineered body in the world. It's it is
Definitely,
so
yeah.
good at storing energy. So, like in my clinical practice, I've observed this a lot. You'll see somebody, let's say who's an amputee, they lost a leg, and you look at their body habitus and they're very thin, like especially when they're younger, like they're still moving, right? and
Yeah.
and then you wonder like how are they burning that, and it's because there's that imperfection now in the body, right? You lost a limb, the body has to compensate so much to end up burning through so much calories, whereas us, like let's say if you do have both limbs, or all four limbs I should say, you're able to really conserve those calories a lot better than you think. And So it makes the body a dangerous machine in a way because you're able to hang on to all those extra calories and can lead to obesity, weight gain,
Yeah.
and it speaks a lot to what you just said. We have to be really careful about that
Yeah,
because you
definitely.
can get into trouble. One of the first things I remember we learned when I took endocrinology in medical school, we talked about the HPA system, right? The hypothalamic pituitary adrenal axis, where we
Yeah.
we look at the relationship between all the hormones and how things are made in the body, and it's really interesting to me when I look at the hypothalamic system. So you get somebody who is stressed, right? the body is going to
Yeah.
release, cortisol, for instance, and it's going to get you, and you're anxious and you're nervous. That you get that release, and all of a sudden, when that cortisol is in your system, your appetite goes up, right? And your body starts to crave
Yeah.
things like wanting to eat something sweet or fatty or salty. It becomes really, something you want. Then you go eat it, and your body feels relief, right? Because you're taking care of, you're quenching that
Yeah.
hunger. And the
Yeah.
problem is, though, the brain then starts to learn, this, this is every time I get stressed, I get relief when I eat, and unfortunately, you learn a bad habit, right? And you train yourself to have that bad habit, and it takes over
Yeah,
you.
that's a very scientific way to look at it and very accurate.
So and that's why stress eating, it's not always about hunger, right? Sometimes we're almost like using it like medicine. We're trying to use the food to help us kind of get out of that temporary funk, when we're not happy.
Exactly.
Or maybe that food that reminds you of, wow, this is something my mom used to make me. It always put me in a good mood. Or like mom soup. Or like I remember when I was younger, my mom would make this, oh my goodness, I can't remember the name now. There was two soups she always made. One was shorbatats, the lentil soup.
Yeah.
But the
Yeah.
other one was my actually not my mom. My grandma used to make this one. It was called lisanet asfour, where you'd make the little
Yeah.
tiny little pasta in the chicken soup, and it looks like,
Yeah.
oh my god. Like every time I eat that, it's like that's really my childhood. I mean, like I literally, like the earliest memory I have, I think, was when I was 3.5 years old. I remember eating that soup. Um, it's just amazing. So we have to be careful, right? Because if we don't, we can get into like a pathological cycle, and that's when you start worrying about
Exactly.
things like obesity and all the bad medical effects that can happen. You know.
Yeah, especially that obesity can lead to like type 2 diabetes when it's like insulin resistance, you know?
Hmm.
So you gotta be very, very, very careful with that too. That it's not just obesity, it's the complications that might come with it, or atherosclerosis, or coronary heart disease, you know? So you have to be very careful.
Oh yeah, I completely agree. So like I don't know how it is in Egypt, but in the U.S., 10% of the money used in all healthcare is goes only to treat obesity. That's it, just obesity,
Mm,
nothing else. And it's forget. I'm not even talking about the complications of obesity. I'm not talking about diabetes and all these other things. But it's up there with stress, right? Obesity and stress and anxiety. Those are some of the biggest diseases in most societies now. Um, and
unfortunately, yeah.
yeah, and I think it's unfortunately it's a I'm obviously a lot older than you, and it's funny for me to see the transition of when I was really young, being with my grandma. We never went out, right? We never went to eat
Yeah.
McDonald's and Taco Bell and all KFC, all these fast food places. Everything was always made at home,
Yeah.
and even when
Yeah.
you went out, you went to a restaurant where you ate like regular food, whereas now everything is so artificial.
Yeah, well, that's very, very, like an interesting topic to talk about. That actually, when, like, from my own personal experience, when I used to eat, like, a lot of fast food as a teenager, starting from, like, the age, well, let's say 18 until the age of 20 or 21, I used to eat, like, fast food so, like, habitual, like, very, very frequently. And then I stopped because I developed severe acne, you know, and I stopped and I decided to stop and I stopped it completely. My face actually healed. It really did heal. So,
Hmm.
yeah, what you're talking about is very, very interesting and important topic to talk about. That fast food is not good for one's health, and going from that, from this, like when you have severe acne, it affects like your self confidence, how you look outside when you go outside. You know, I'm not saying anything. Acne is a very natural process, but sometimes it means that you take care of your diet so that you don't go there. You know.
Absolutely, I agree. And diet is really important. And once we learn the basis of how food works, how it affects your body, we need to take advantage of that. And there's several, I guess, components to the story. One is healthy eating, right? And the other one is actually, yes, food can reduce stress, but you can do it in an unhealthy way, which is you just stuff your face and keep eating all processed foods, cookies out of a bag, chips, fast food, that sort of
I
thing.
love cookies, by the way.
I know we all do,
I,
right? It's very addictive. It's very addictive.
yeah,
But
especially with the chocolate chips.
yeah, I hear you. I hear you. And it's very hard. Or, there's another way to reduce stress. Like I know that some of my buddies in therapy, they sometimes will tell people that have mild depression, "Hey, let me teach you a basic, cookie recipe, let's say," and they'll teach them how to bake it.
Yeah.
And those patients will come back and say, I actually just the process of me making something with my own hands and having to concentrate on it allowed my brain that was overactive and thinking about a lot of things to stop because I had to focus on something else. And it also gives them a sense of accomplishment, like, oh wow, I did this on myself. Um, and it's so funny because a lot of people don't know how to cook anymore. Like I can tell you, I have friends my age that literally don't know how to cook. The only way they can eat is if someone else cooks for them or if they go out somewhere.
Yeah, well, I can definitely relate to that because at some point of my life, I was really busy with my studies and my mom did all the cooking. She told me that I should really focus on my studies and these stuff, they can all be learned at when I decide to. So this is why I started cooking like very recently. And I can tell you this, what you're saying is very accurate and very true because, yeah, when you don't know how to cook or when you eat outside or only when someone else makes you food at a grown age, it really does affect like it takes away all of a good like process of you to make something and to actually achieve a result, a beautiful result. And like you said, like stimulate the vagus nerve and the parasympathetic system and all of that. This really is therapeutic for someone and it can't stop a train of thoughts as this person suffers from anxiety or mild depression, like you said. So yeah, I can definitely agree with that.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'll tell you, like, even with my children are younger, but I will take them in the kitchen and I will teach them really simple recipes. I'm by no means a chef, but I do know a lot of small, simple recipes, and I'll watch them as they're learning and their hand dexterity improves from the beginning of trying to make something to the end, and their sense of pride and accomplishment. Like, I remember my son, him and I, one day were in the kitchen and he wanted to make something really nice. He wanted to make, actually, for your dad, he wanted to make him something that your mom
Oh,
could take back when she visited us. And I was like,
yeah, the sweets, I know.
yeah. And I was like, oh, okay.
They were really good.
And then we were thinking about it. Then I was like, you know what? This is a pretty simple recipe. I told him, let's make meringue. And we made the meringue. And I told him, this is something that has a decent shelf life. It should last until the time they get to Egypt. And he was really proud and so happy that he was able to perform that task. And it doesn't matter if you're a child or if you're 60 years old, that same pride and enjoyment, I think, can still be fulfilled by it.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. Cooking is a very important corner of one's life, and it's a very important corner of one's living to so that you can make a healthy food for your body. So it's a very important skill for one to learn, especially at a very young age, they can develop and be really, really, really good cooks when they grow up.
Yeah, absolutely. And, it's also part of the culture, regardless of what culture you're from, right? Whether you're on the other side of the world in Egypt or Australia or you're in the United States, I mean, it is part of the culture. It gives a reason for social gathering, people to get together, which helps combat a lot of the problems that we see, like depression, anxiety, all these things. These things can improve. Like
Definitely.
when I know the one time I've been to Egypt when I visited you guys, it was an incredible experience to be in the house. Everyone was busy, everyone was cooking, everyone was eating together, talking about the food, and it's just such an amazing memory, and it's really so therapeutic on every level, and
Oh, thank you.
and even from the beginning, right, from cooking to eating, and even the process of cleaning together afterwards, it helps.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah. Yeah, it's very beautiful to be in a natural and in a family environment and the conversation that takes place when you're cleaning, like, and you're doing, yeah, the food was really good. How did he do this recipe? Like, how did he do this food?
Mhm.
I want to know the recipe. That's like really beautiful. Like, I feel like the gathering and the people, most importantly, is what makes the like the gathering so beautiful. Even if the food is not good, and it didn't turn out to be good. You still laugh about it together,
Oh
like,
yeah.
oh my god, yeah, sorry about that. I tried to make something out of it, but I'm so sorry it turned out to be like that, and everyone just tries it and takes the surprise. So I feel like, yeah, it doesn't have to be perfect, but the gathering and the people and the environment and the family environment, this is what makes it real, you know?
Oh, and it makes it amazing. It's funny you talk about that. So last year on Thanksgiving, I decided to deep fry a turkey, a whole turkey, the whole bird. And I was so excited
Wow.
to do it. And I read so much and I did all this stuff and bought all these things on Amazon and then sat down with
Yeah.
my son and I was teaching him and we were doing it. And in the end, this bird came out completely burned. Completely. It was
Oh,
unedible. But it was actually a funny experience because yes, we learned a lot, but unfortunately the product wasn't good. But we still had a great time and thankfully we had other food to eat because everyone was starving at the end of the day. It's
yes, this actually reminds me of, like, I'm sorry to cut you off. This actually reminds me of a memory, like, actually, it's not an actual memory because this was like 2 days ago. You know, Tomea, the white sauce, the garlic sauce you put on the shawarma?
oh yeah.
I tried to make it at home. We usually buy it at restaurants. So I read a wrong recipe of making it with, like, egg yolk and without starch on the cooker. So I did it without the starch. And I did the egg yolk and every a single thing else it needed. And then it turned out to be completely liquid-like. And it was so funny because my dad was like, "You got the wrong recipe. You got the wrong recipe." And he kept laughing so hard that it was so liquid-like. And I was like, "Dad, I'm gonna get the starch and I'm gonna redo it again." And he's like, "I've had enough of man. I've had enough."
That's awesome. Yeah, it's really incredible the culture that grows out of it. Or for us, like during Ramadan, when especially when everybody's been fasting all day and everybody's so hungry, and it's amazing how it can bring people together. And that's actually one of my favorite things about Ramadan is your focus on food shifts, right? I mean, yes, everybody's
Yeah.
so excited and everybody's so hungry, but you spend your whole day not eating. You force yourself not to eat, not to drink anything, and
Exactly.
it really gives you an opportunity from a medical perspective for your body to reset itself, right? We know that when you're fasting, a lot of good things happens to the body. Your blood sugar levels
Yeah.
improve. You clean out a lot of bad dead cells in your digestive system. There's so many good things that happen. Your cortisol levels seem to level off. Your growth hormone levels to go up slowly, which actually helps your body with healing. So there's so many good things that
Yeah.
happen with it. And then when you finally come time to eat, you're so thankful and it's so crazy. I don't know about you, but I will be so hungry. Like I feel like I can eat a whole cow if you put it in front of me. And then I go to eat, and after about 5 minutes, I'm stuffed. I can't eat anymore. Um,
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. This is exactly what happens to me, but unfortunately, I force myself to eat the whole thing and I end up sleeping afterwards, which is very unhealthy. And it's very, like, it's not the best healthy system in Ramadan. And I know this is not what Ramadan is for, but I'm so hungry and my mom makes really good food. I'm like, I'm going to finish this all. I'm going to eat the sweets, even though I feel full. So, yeah, I can completely relate to that, but unfortunately, I don't, like, react the same. I eat a lot. But inshallah, I'll try to do like better next Ramadan.
yeah, it's hard, and everything happens, with time, with practice, and and
Exactly.
eating these healthy foods are just so important. And
Yeah.
not to switch the topic too much, but I just had a thought as we were talking about this. Um,
Yeah.
on how culture has changed so much about food and how we eat food. So over the last, like, I'd say from the 1930s to like the 1980s and 90s, even the early 2000s, you know,
Yeah.
we had such a big increase in fast food. Huge increase, right? Eating so many
Very true.
unhealthy foods, really chemicals and highly processed foods. That's the word I'm looking for. Highly processed foods, which is like really bad for you.
Yeah.
And at the
Yeah, that's
same
very true.
time, we had a lot of antibiotics come out, right? And everybody's taking
Yeah.
antibiotics. Humans are taking antibiotics. The animals we eat are taking antibiotics. It's just everything is antibiotics, and we're killing off all these bacterial, you know, bodies that are naturally found on our skin, inside of our body, and everywhere.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you've noticed, but over the last 15 years or so, now there seems to be a reversal. Now all of a sudden we're looking at probiotics. Oh, you got to eat more yogurt. You got to eat all these drinks
Yeah.
that have kombucha, for instance, right? And all these things. And there's a huge
Yeah.
push for all these things. And it's just really interesting how life is like a pendulum. So I don't know if you ever heard there was a Russian scientist. I don't remember his whole story. I just remember that he's Russian ethnically. His name was Eli Mechnikov. Okay, so
Okay.
Mechnikov, he basically he was married the first time. His wife died from a disease, and he was very depressed. He actually got married the second time, and his wife also died from a disease. And during that time, there was a big cholera outbreak, and he was really upset, and he got really depressed. And from what I remember about his story, I'd have to look it up, but he was like, "Look, something is going on, like with these bacterias, because there was that big cholera outbreak." And you know what he did?
Yeah.
He actually took a little bit of cholera and drank it, and
Oh.
he never got sick. He was fine. He was completely fine. And then he was like, "Huh, this doesn't make sense." So then he did it again with another one of his colleagues, and his colleague was fine, didn't get sick. And then he did it with a third
Oh.
colleague, but then the third colleague got really sick. So then he was like, something is going on here. So he started researching it, and he started doing some different clinical trials, and then he started to find out that there were certain bacteria in the gut. If you had them, they didn't activate cholera. If you had this certain bacteria, it would activate cholera, and it would cause cholera to cause you a problem. And if you didn't have it, if you had the healthy bacteria, you actually didn't develop cholera. Um,
Like competition between bacteria?
I don't remember the exact mechanism, to be honest with you, but what I do
Okay.
remember, what stuck with me, is that he found out that if your body has a nice, healthy bacterial biome, you actually do, your body does actually really well. So, if you think
That's
about it,
very interesting.
the you know that there's more bacteria inside your body than there are human cells in your whole body. So you're made up more of
Wow.
bacteria than you are of human like cells.
Yeah.
If you look at
That's very.
it's
Yeah,
humbling, right?
actually, yeah, I've always known that we've got like bacteria, flora, and that we need bacteria in our body, in our digestive system. But I've never known that the number, like, it actually outnumbers the number of human
Oh,
cells. It's very interesting.
and that's the thing. The human gut is a beautiful and amazing organ. People don't realize it. So, I'm a neurosurgeon, so I could tell you, there's, you know, hundreds of millions of cells in the brain of neurons firing and telling the body what to do and where to go. But you know what's really crazy? There's just as much nerve cells in the gut. So you've got about 3 pounds of brain tissue up here in the brain controlling everything. We also have about 3 pounds of brain tissue throughout your gut,
Yeah,
which
that's very interesting.
which blows my mind. So like you talked about the vagus nerve earlier. You know that the vagus nerve is basically a connection, right? That's how the brain tells the gut what to
Yeah,
do. But what we're actually starting to find out with the newer research, which is building on his old research, this guy Mechkanov, is you know what? The gut also talks to the brain. Like for instance, when you eat something, right, and you get that
yeah,
initial happiness, and you get a little bit of dopamine release, and you also get serotonin, right? You get serotonin release,
yeah,
and you feel happy, right? When the brain releases serotonin, you feel happy, and it affects your mood. Did you
yeah.
know that the gut makes almost 95% of the serotonin that's found in the human body, and only about 5-10% of it is made in the brain?
Wow, that's no, I've never known that.
It's wild. Now, I will tell you this: the serotonin in the gut can't get into the brain because there's the blood-brain barrier. But when you think about it, you're like, huh. So the serotonin in the gut affects the gut differently. This is what causes your gut to move. So, like, have you ever been like really, really nervous, right? And you feel like you have butterflies in your stomach,
Yeah, definitely,
right?
yeah.
That's a side effect of these serotonins because serotonin helps the gut move properly. This is why if you talk to some people that have severe anxiety, they'll tell you, "Oh my God, my stomach is bothering me. I have diarrhea all of a sudden," and they're just nervous. That once they solve the problem, that goes away immediately. And
Yeah,
they'll be like, "Oh, my stomach is hurting me. Oh, I can't. Oh, I'm hurt." Well, that's the connection. So even though technically the gut doesn't directly enter the stuff it makes enters the brain. It indirectly affects the brain, right? Because it affects your mood. If your
Right.
stomach is hurting you and you're already not feeling good, you're going to feel even worse, right? And your mood snowballs and becomes worse and worse and worse and worse. So, I guess what I was going with this is I don't think modern science completely knows or understands
Everything. Yeah.
everything, but what we do know, at least from the basis of what we know, is that this is really important stuff. And when we're just sitting here and eating all these artificial things and eating so much sugars, and instead of eating natural things and really taking care and not preventing us from killing all of our bacteria, like you just talked about acne, right? You solved it through diet instead of just putting antibiotics in your system and on your face. Um,
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
doesn't always
That's
work.
exactly how it worked
It
out.
doesn't always work, but it actually does work in a lot of people. And there's some good literature that you're not the only one that's ever experienced this. There's good literature to show that, yeah, that does work actually in some people. Um, there's obviously it's more complicated. There's a lot of different steps, but it blows my mind when you look at something like the gut and how it works. Because if I cut the vagus nerve, the gut can still function on its own. It doesn't need the signals from the brain. That's because it has its own
Yeah.
enteric nervous system, and it's got all this huge bacterial, genome that basically literally makes hormones, makes all of these things that can run by itself. It's it really is
Yeah.
it really is wild, and I think this is why it's so important for us to not take something like food so lightly, right? I mean, it is really something
Yeah.
important,
Definitely.
and we have to
You.
be.
I.
Oh, go ahead.
That's okay. I've just heard something before that said, like, you are what you eat.
Hmm.
Like you definitely need to take care of your diet. This is what your body needs. Like, you need to be hydrated and not just replace it with like soda or, like you said, artificial drinks and syrups. A lot of syrups. No, you have to, like, yeah, drink fresh juices where you can take all the vitamins that your body needs,
Hmm.
and you have to eat like fibers, not just the small amount of lettuce that's like in a sandwich, like in fast food. You have to know, not just be like satisfied with that. You have to eat like a salad
Hmm.
at least once per day, and you have to eat like proteins. But people have already they're grown up. They need not to eat too much protein, otherwise they'll develop gout. So we need a lot of attention to what we eat, because this is what our body needs. Yeah, food can help us shift from one mood to another, but we need to be very careful that we process this food and our body processes this food, so that another entire system has to be built, and cells that die and cells that renew, it needs this food and needs this energy, and your body needs this energy to function. So it's not just for pleasure. Yes, of course, food can be pleasure, but we have to be careful on our health.
Yeah, and we don't let it develop that cycle we talked about where the cortisol gets released
Yeah,
because you're anxious, so you eat and you think that that's a solution to
exactly, like the
everything,
cycle.
right? We want to
Exactly.
eat for nutrition. Can joy come out of eating?
Exactly.
Absolutely, it can. We just have to be smart about how we do it. And oh, I remembered some. I
Exactly.
remembered where I was going with that whole bacterial thing I was talking to you about. The thing that fascinated me about this guy, this Mechkanov guy, is he found this community that would drink a lot of the milk that's been fermented a little bit, that would have a little bit of bacteria in it. Kind of like, I forget what it's called. I had it actually when I was in Egypt. You know what I'm talking about? The leban, when it's got like a little bit like sour taste. It's almost like a yogurt. They let it ferment a little bit. Do you know that
Oh
drink?
yeah.
I,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah,
It's called I think it's a brand name. It's called like Zavadu.
yeah. I don't know the brand name. It might be different than the one that I've tried here. But anyhow, he found a
Yeah.
community that would drink a lot of this, and he noticed that these people were really healthy and lived longer than usual. So he started to drink that, and he eventually, if I remember right, died in France in his like early 70s. I think he was like 71, 72, something like that. And at the time, where most French people had an average lifespan of only like 45 or 48 years old.
Oh.
Yeah, isn't that wild? And that's before what we would call modern medicine. He lived much longer than the average person. So, this is something that we need to really pay serious attention to and be very careful from it.
Like you mean the probiotics, like induce his digestive system for bacterial competition or something
I
like
mean,
that, or that's not the
I guess
exact
the
mechanism?
theory, no, I guess the theory is if you have the right probiotic genome in your body, it helps fight
Yeah,
everything from inflammation, it helps fight anxiety. Just like we talked about, when you're anxious, your stomach hurts,
yeah,
and even when you're happy, you get those butterflies in your stomach when you're overly stimulated, right?
yeah,
Or this is
yeah,
why people get something called irritable bowel syndrome sometimes, right? When they are there's a correlation between those people and
yeah,
anxiety. I'm not saying one
exactly.
causes the other, but there is a correlation between the two. And the gut just keeps going. And maybe part of it is they don't have the right bacterial gut. And we have to talk to our colleagues, our GI doctors about that. But, um, just as from my general medical knowledge, looking at that, it just blows me away. And it just shows you like um, how amazing the human body is and how amazing just creation is in general.
Definitely,
And
yeah.
it,
There is a lot about the human body that we still don't know yet, and this just fascinates me.
yeah, it absolutely does, and it's just crazy. The more I learn and the more I understand, two things happen. Number one, I realize I know less than I actually knew, and that most people know a lot less than they say they do. Like it's so easy for somebody to go up and say, "I studied for 40 years. I know all these things." The reality is, the more we learn, the less we actually know. Is what we come to find out. And the second thing
Yeah,
that happens to me is I feel like my faith actually gets stronger as a result of it. There's
definitely, yeah.
there's an ayah in Surah al-Fusilat that says, "Sanurihum ayatina." I'm trying to remember the ayah. "Sanurihum ayatina fi afaki wa fi anfusihim hatta yatabayyana lahum annahu al-haq." Yeah, that's what it is. So basically, we will show them. So God's saying, we'll show you our signs in the horizon and within themselves, so that they know that this is the
Yeah,
truth, right? So like, look at this. We're looking at our body and we're looking within ourselves, and we're finding that what we thought we're human beings and all this stuff, and our bodies made up more of something else than what we visually see. Like we have this whole microbiome with its own nervous system, and it's just I don't know,
yeah, definitely.
it just blows my mind. It just really blows my mind to see things like
Yeah,
this.
yeah, it does blow my mind too. Like I feel like that's like how we function and how our human body functions. And when you study it like really deeply in medicine, like for example biochemistry and the enzyme cascade system, and what happens inside the liver when glycogen is like transformed, when glucose is transformed into glycogen. And I feel like that's, oh my god, the amount of enzymes and how your body works and how it's just a very complicated system. I feel like wow, like God has created us very very beautifully, and like we're so complicated inside and yet so simple, and yet there is another entire emotional system apart from the like biological system, or sometimes they're like correlated. But I feel like that's like very 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 deep and very creative from God, and that gets you to believe in God like so much and say subhanallah, you've created me so beautifully, and you said that I'm one of your best creations. And I feel like wow, the more you study, the more you realize that there is like another, there's a lot to know more. You can't be just satisfied from where you stand.
Hmm.
Yeah, like knowing you have to always develop yourself, always, and always look for more, and always look for the new researches to be updated. And you feel like no, there's still a lot science hasn't discovered yet that we need to discover within the human body. Because sometimes when I study, as the book that I study from says, we don't know the function of this yet, or we're not entirely like we don't entirely know how this functions, or how's out, or the incidence of such a disease, or what causes it. So I feel like wow, no, there's a lot we learn there, and there's a lot we still need to learn, and we always need to be curious and have passion for science, because this is how your body works. Even if you're not like a physician or a medical student, you can always search, but from trusted sources, of course, and learn more and more about how the inside of your body functions, because that's just such a beautiful knowledge.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's really important for us, regardless, you're a physician, you're not a physician, whatever you're in, just try to learn what you can. And especially today, there's so easy to get information. You can get on Google,
Exactly.
YouTube, all these things. And I think it's really important for us to understand these, at least these basic pieces of information, even if we can't learn it, to help us the best care we can of this body that we were gifted. So
Yeah.
yes, food's an amazing thing. It's a wonderful thing. It can bring in so many beautiful emotions. It could be a way for a social construct, whether it's during Ramadan or if it's at school as a group or as an outing. It can leave you with amazing memories for the positive.
Yeah,
But at the
definitely.
same token, we have to be careful not to let it become an artificial medicine that can hurt us, right? Where you're stress eating and
Yeah.
you develop this, you feel that contentment after you eat, so you get addicted to it. It's like anything else. It has to be in moderation. It has to be done smartly. Great talk. I
Yeah,
really
exactly.
appreciate you taking the time to chat about all this stuff. I didn't expect to get into all these things as much as we did, but I'm glad we did.
Thank you so much. I enjoyed it too.
So I guess we had this one question. I didn't think about it, but I don't know if you still want to talk about it as a last thing. If you're stranded on an island by yourself forever, you only got three foods for the rest of your life, what would you eat? I'll be honest, I completely forgot about this question. I just saw it on my notes and I was just wondering, oh man, I don't know. So I don't know if you have an idea, if you want to talk about it while I think quickly.
Actually, it would be like my mom's food, like goulash, and definitely like like eggs with pastırma.
Oh my God, I forgot about eggs with bastema.
Yeah,
It's like one of the
yeah,
greatest
I
things that ever
love it.
came out of Egypt is eggs with bastema.
Yeah,
It's up there with the
yeah, I love it.
pyramids.
Yeah, yeah, I love it. Like it's gonna actually be, but from my mom's hand. Like, let's just be honest. I would love it from my mom's hand more than my own, at least for the time.
For those of us that don't know what basturma is, it's essentially a cured meat. It's usually beef. It's the same meat like you'd make steak out of, but it's almost cured like like almost like not quite like a jerky, almost like a deli style meat, and it's just salty and delicious, and it's got a little bit of
Yeah,
spice, a little
definitely.
garlic to it. Oh my God, it's incredible. Oh,
Yeah, yeah, I love it so much.
oh my God. So I'm gonna definitely have to agree with you. That would be one of my foods as basturma. Like one of my one I
Yeah.
have this amazing memory and I with my grandpa, I remember before he passed away, Allah yarhamu, he came and visited us and he took me to the store and we bought a small slab of meat and we had an attic up above the house that was closed and
Yeah.
dark. So he made me come up with him in the meat, and we put it inside like a huge uh, basket of salt, and we left it in there for a while. We
Oh,
dried the meat, and we put it in the salt, and the salt pulled out all the water. And then after we did that, we poked some holes in the meat, and then we poked a big hole on top. We put like a little string around the piece of meat, if you can imagine, and then we
yeah.
we bathed the whole piece of meat with this mixture, like a tadbila of of it was like
Um,
garlic, paprika, salt, pepper. God, it was a bunch of different things. And after we made the paste, we literally pasted this thick layer on top of the meat, and then we left it alone for 2 weeks. And then afterwards,
wow,
we
you
ate
actually
it.
made it at home.
Oh my God, it was one of the best things I've ever had in my life. I love pastama. I love making it with
Wow.
eggs, with everything. I
Yeah, I love it too.
Oh my goodness, yes. And then for me, a second one, oh my God, I don't know. Kushari probably. I was gonna say
My mom
Misa'a.
makes it very
Oh
beautifully.
my God, I almost said Misa'a, but I think Kushari beats Misa'a for me by just a hair, just a tiny small hair. Such a simple food, but oh my God, it's so good.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. I love kochari, and I love it when it's like a little bit spicy, you know?
Oh my God, yes, it's
I
so.
love.
See, I've only had like plain kushari. It's just the rice, the lentils on top, maybe a little macaroni,
Yeah,
and then I love the red tomato sauce, and then whatever that
and
vinegar garlic
the
sauce.
fried onion.
Oh, and the fried onions. That's
Yeah,
it. I heard some people eat it with meat and all these things. I just want regular kushari. It literally couldn't get more
yeah,
Egyptian
me
than
too.
that.
Yeah, I love koshari. Like I always like tell my mom, "Can we have some koshari? Can we have some koshari?" Because no one makes it like her. She's so good, mashallah.
Oh my God, I can't wait to try it. That's it. Now I'm gonna call her and tell her you need to make me kushari ASAP.
Yeah. Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And please tell her for me too.
And then for me, my last food would have to be a mousse, like some kind of mousse, chocolate mousse or a cake mousse, something
Yeah,
like that. Oh, if I
yeah,
had those
something
three things,
sweet.
I'd be good forever.
Yeah, me too.
Oh, well, thank you so much for joining us, everyone, and hopefully we'll see you on our next podcast.
Thank you.